All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pastrami Nation, the meet of pop culture. I'm Kevin, your host today, and with me today we got Rebecca. How you doing,
Hello.
Rebecca? And also today we have a very special guest. We have an interview today with comic book writer Anthony Cleveland. He's written Show's End, Stargazer, and we're going to talk about those today. Anthony, how are you doing today?
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you for coming on. So just to kind of get you introduced to our audience a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been writing comics and how you kind of got into the industry?
Sure. I started with self-publishing. I put out like a kind of a one-shot pilot issue in about 2016, 2015. And then from there, like that didn't really take off, but I didn't really try too hard to make it take off.
Right.
Mad Cave had a talent search around that time, I think. Maybe it was 2 years after that.
Nice.
But I entered the talent search and I had the, good fortune of being selected, and our first book was Show's End, and we've been rolling since. So it's been great.
Very cool. Yeah, I know Show's End was actually really big. A lot of my friends who never really read indie comics read Show's End and they absolutely loved it.
That's
We all
awesome.
at Pastrami Nation really liked it a lot as well.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, of course. Rebecca. Oh yeah. So let's talk about Stargazer a little bit. Stargazer is a
Sure.
series you're doing now.
Mhm.
It's a really cool six-part series. It's kind of got a cool like Spielbergian vibe to it, Stranger Things kind of vibe to it. Can you tell us a little bit about the book and why telling this story was important to you?
Yeah, definitely Spielberg. Like I try to pitch it as Stephen King's It meets Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah,
So
Nice.
absolutely.
it's try to do the best of both of them. But yeah, that came from a lot of like the '90s growing up with UFOs, that kind of culture that was going on, because it was X-Files,
Oh
Independence
yeah.
Day, Mars Attacks, and like any channel you turned on this, or anytime you turned on the Sci-Fi channel, it was UFO sightings. They were showing highlights of that, so it was always there growing up for me. And the comic takes place in the '90s, and then we fast forward to present day with these girls that we saw, and yeah, and just see how different it is, and their incident comes back to haunt them. I guess not haunt them, but reveal itself.
Right. That's what kept me interested. You're like, oh, I want to know more. I want to know more. So, how has the reception been since the book's first release?
We had good luck. We sold out the first two issues.
Wow.
Um, that was really awesome to hear. And then um, I don't know. I don't know beyond the sales. To be honest, I know people like it a lot and they're excited for it, and I'm real appreciative of that, and I'm excited to see the reaction to the last issue. See where that goes.
Yeah,
How
very
people
cool.
are going to take that.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys have released the first five. When does the sixth issue come out?
I don't have a definite release date. Early March. We got delayed. It was supposed to come out next week,
Okay.
um, but early March. Maybe the first week or the second week of March.
Right, right. So a lot of the characters in this book feel like they're real. Like I can actually relate to them in so many ways, and that's one thing I really appreciate about it. And the artwork really kind of goes really well with the characters. Can you tell us a little bit about getting that particular style for your book? Was that something that you kind of always had envisioned, or that the artists?
With Mad Cave, there's not a lot of collaboration. It's all we work through the editor pretty much, and the editor passes
Oh, okay.
feedback there. Um, so it's whatever I said in the script, and then I guess translated from the editor, passed to the editor from the color artist. So there's not too much collaboration, but like a lot of the characters I had, they all kind of came from kids you knew growing up. There's always the tougher one, the one that grows up and has a little bit more issues than others do.
Right.
And just that's mostly what I pulled from, and like kind of like thinking about where these my friends are back then, where they are now. I think a lot of that came from that. Of course, for myself, family as well. But yeah, like it's the first time I pulled from reality. Normally, I don't, do that. It's usually characters I know from movies, comics and kind of combine them with other characters.
Mhm.
This is the first time I combined it, like, real people I know. So it's different for me.
Right. Yeah,
Is there one
absolutely.
particular one that you identify with most?
There's a little bit of me and everyone. Well, actually, yeah, probably Shay,
Okay.
for sure. What she has going on with her brother is a lot like what I have with my brother. Just often being overprotecting. My brother's special needs, and it's like hard to figure out. It took me a long time to figure out like when to let go, let that person, make their own mistakes instead of trying to be protective all the time with it.
Hmm.
Okay.
And that's the big part of Stargazer is her, coming to grips with what to do with him.
Right. Yeah. Very cool. I was wondering about that because you portray Kenny. He's on the autistic spectrum, um, which is what I read. I read previous interviews with you, and you were talking about that. Um, I know that there's a lot of kind of it's kind of tough to kind of nail that in any kind of medium. How do you think it's important? There's a new movie kind of going around. I don't know if you've heard anything about it, but the movie Music by Sia, which
A little bit.
portrays which portrays people on the autistic spectrum, but kind of it's been getting a lot of backlash due to its portrayal of it. What do you think is the important thing that people need to remember when they're portraying kind of mental health stuff like that, special needs, things like that?
With this comic, and I did a comic book before it called Silver Skin. It's the same pretty much idea, the sibling relationship, just like in Stargazer. But I mean, with this one, I didn't like especially say what Kenny has. It's much like with my
Right.
brother. Like if you asked me, what diagnosis my brother has, I couldn't tell you, and like that's something I never cared to ask. I didn't really want to know. I know it's like something I should, but like he's just my brother, And that's kind of what I wanted to keep going with this. I mean, definitely like you can, say special needs, what is it? Intellectual disability or something like that, but handicap. But like, I just, it's my brother. I think that's the Shay's relationship as well.
Right.
So I just kind of put what I saw that, he does sometimes. He's got, some tics and things like that and the way he talks. Try to squeeze that all in there.
Right. And I love that you actually see Kenny for who he is.
Right. Yeah, definitely. They didn't want to focus on or pull the comic, around his condition. I didn't think that was right. I think it was more appropriate to show him and Kenny and Shay all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's so well done. It blends in really well with each other. So let's talk about a little bit about Show's End. Like I said before, we all really, really love Show's End. I love the take on the carnival. I love that whole genre, like things like Carnival and things like that, like on HBO and stuff like that. What were kind of your inspirations for doing that series? That one just seems, I just love that one's more magic based and has a lot of kind of mythology kind of behind it. This one does, Stargazer does too, but this is more sci-fi compared to that aspect of it. What drew
Very
you?
macabre.
Very macabre, yeah, which I really loved. What drew you to Show's End?
How Mad Cave works is they have, their idea, their IP, and then they pitch it out to the writers, and then the writers kind of take the idea where they want to go. When I was selected in the talent search, I just asked for a horror idea, anything
cool.
horror I wanted, and they kind of said, well, this one's kind of horror. And, like originally, I think they wanted to do more like it's a circus, but they have superpowers, more into the superhero angle with it. And I pitched them the idea for Show's End, about the little girl and what the little girl actually is and how she hides away. And that's what they liked. And that's what we went with. But yeah, that came from, the original Freaks movie, the 1932 movie.
Love it.
A lot of I didn't read a lot of Dark Horse stuff, but like I flipped through a lot of Hellboy growing up. So I pulled from that. There's like even a little bit of Spawn in there. Like I try to make it like as familiar to like the stuff I grew up with as I could for my first book. But yeah, a lot of Universal monster movies. The
definitely.
Original Freaks. I think that's where a lot of it came from.
Very cool. And excuse me. So you guys are working on or you guys are starting work on a sequel, or any kind of word on how far along that is?
I haven't checked back in a minute. We're coloring
Okay.
right now, the first issue. I don't know how far along they are with that, but yeah, we have a different colorist this time. I don't know if I can say who yet.
Right.
But yeah, we have a different colorist. She's doing great. And yeah, Jeff's just pounding away. Like Jeff's one of those artists, like I don't have to put much on the page. He can fill it all in. I trust him that much. And like we trust each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great collaboration. But like that's one of the few people from like Mad Cave like I kind of jump over and talk to, because we've done like I don't know, some independent collaborations in the past. So it's neat to like be back again and get paid to do it this time.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, Mad Cave, we've interviewed quite a few people from Mad Cave, and everyone's been really cool and has said nothing but good things about them. You know, they let the creators do their own thing for,
Yeah,
which is great.
It's not a back and forth, but it's a good back and forth. It's never
Right.
like there's never been a time where I felt shut down or my ideas were scoffed at or something like that. It's a good back and forth for me. Like I had an experience kind of like this in college where I was writing screenplays, and it was a lot of no, 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 no. But like you learn to deal with those no's and roll with those no's and like, turn them into something else. It helped a lot.
Very cool. Was just real quick, was kind of writing comics something you always wanted to do, or did you just kind of fall into it? I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was film, video, things like that. That's what I
Okay.
wanted to do. So it didn't stray too far. Like everything from visual storytelling carried over. Like I try to tell the story as much as I can through the pictures and not like the words on the page. So yeah, it's not too far of a stretch. Like I wanted to do comics when I was in college, but I didn't know how to get started with that. There wasn't as many online resources I knew about at the time. I didn't know how to plug myself into like, that kind of community. I don't know how big it was even at that time.
Right. Yeah, definitely. There's so much more obviously now available now, with these talent searches and things like that,
Right.
that are very beneficial to, creators of comics.
Right. So do you have any advice for those who are just getting started?
Yeah. Just jump into any like these online communities and ask questions.
Okay.
That's the best way to do it. The one that I used that I got started with was Reddit. It was comic book collabs. I think
Cool.
that's what it is. Search that, ask any questions in there, like read the threads, just kind of see how, even like basic etiquette with, asking rates and things like that. Like that's a good thing to learn. Follow creators on social media, watch how they interact, and like don't be afraid to ask them questions either. If they are saying anybody have any questions, just comment below or something like that. Definitely do it. If someone has their DMs open, go ahead and slide into there and just ask them a question.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. And speaking of social media, where can people find you on your socials and on Twitter and things like that?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and Instagram, not so much lately though with the gram.
Right.
At ant_Cleveland. I'm pretty active on the Twitter. And anyone has any questions too that wants to get into comics, please message me. Yeah, I'm always happy to help out.
Yeah, for sure. Every interaction I've had with you on there, I follow you on there, and super nice, super generous to everyone. So yeah, definitely go check out Anthony's Twitter. Did you have anything else, Rebecca?
No.
No.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Anthony. Where can people find your books right now? Obviously, would Amazon, places like that be a good place to find
Yeah,
them?
we just started Amazon. That's hype that for sure. We just got into Amazon, so
Cool.
Stargazer will be on Amazon, and I think Shozen will be on Amazon, and your comic book store first, of course, but
Right.
order for them. Yeah,
Of
it's exciting.
course.
Highly anticipated. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
We all are. Well, thank you so much, Anthony, for spending some time with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, everybody, have a good night. And remember, visit pastramination.com for all the latest comic book reviews, movie news, reviews, all that good stuff. All right, thank you guys, and have a good night.